Hello, everybody, and welcome to our webinar on the new Benefits WorkCenter and important changes to the life event document submittal process coming in September 2026. Thank you for attending. For our agenda today, I'll give you a quick overview of what to expect in today's webinar and fill you in on the Cardinal upgrade project. I'll then turn it over to Sarah Harrell, our benefits team lead, who will review the new Benefits WorkCenter and other benefits enhancements, all coming as part of the upgrade. Following Sarah's presentation and live demonstration of the new features, we'll hold a question and answer session and wrap up the webinar with some next steps to help you prepare for the upgrade. If you have agency-specific questions, please enter a help desk ticket and someone from the benefits team will respond to your inquiry. And on a similar note, if you have requests for additional enhancements beyond what you see today, please enter a help desk ticket to ensure your request is captured. These requests will be reviewed after we go live and stabilize on the upgraded system. In this webinar, we are featuring enhancements to the benefits functional area as a result of the Cardinal upgrade. If we don't discuss a particular Cardinal function, it is most likely unchanged as part of this upgrade. Agency users will not have access to a training environment to preview the upgraded system. However, the Cardinal team is updating all job aids and other training materials, and these will be made available to you prior to the upgrade go live. Also, retaking completed training is not required, although you are certainly welcome to consider that when we resume instructor-led training in the fall. So before I turn it over to Sarah, for those of you who don't know much about the upgrade, let me fill you in a bit. The Cardinal team is enhancing both Fin and HCM, upgrading these applications to the latest PeopleSoft releases. We started the project in September 2025 and plan to go live with the upgraded system in just a few short weeks on September 8th, 2026. The upgrade includes numerous enhancements aimed at improving the user experience and overall system functionality. Our summer webinars are designed to help you become familiar with many of the new features of the upgrade. A frequent question we have received during these webinars is, will I still have access to my favorites? Generally, the answer to this question is no. Homepage personalizations and navbar favorites will automatically be removed as part of the upgrade. This is because in the upgraded environment, existing personalizations and favorites may be linked to pages or menu items that no longer exist. We do plan to send out a communication to all users advising you to take screenshots of your existing personalizations and favorites, and we will point you to instructions for recreating favorites in the upgraded system. And with that, I'm now going to turn it over to Sarah.
Thank you, Dana. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to talk with us about the changes coming to the benefits world as a result of the Cardinal upgrade.
Meet Ken. He's a TA supervisor. And probably just like you, Ken has to go to a number of different pages in Cardinal to complete his daily work.
It would be so nice to have one place to go to access tasks I need to do today. I probably get even more work done.
Guess what, Ken? We are introducing Cardinal HCM WorkCenters, a centralized hub for completing your daily tasks. WorkCenters reduce navigation time and improve productivity. You can review action items that contain counts so you know how many require attention, apply flexible filters, complete tasks, and run reports and queries all in one place. Yes, you heard right, all in one place. Starting from Cardinal's HCM homepage, let's take a look at the TA WorkCenter tile and go through some of Ken's daily time-related tasks.
As a TA supervisor, my time-related tasks include things like reviewing and fixing exceptions, approving time and absences, assigning work schedules, and running key reports.
Ken certainly has a lot of tasks, so let's see an example of how WorkCenters can help him get them done more efficiently. Once again, start by selecting the TA WorkCenter tile. First on Ken's list is reviewing/fixing exceptions. In WorkCenters, he can check for exceptions in the Exceptions folder under the My Work section. Since this section defaults as expanded, he can easily see there are 3 exceptions requiring attention, which he can filter, review, and adjust. Once done, this action count will disappear. Next on the list is approving time and absences. Move down to the My Approvals section, which also defaults as expanded. He is able to quickly see he has 1 timesheet with payable time that requires review and approval, and 3 absence requests. Click the Payable Time page to review the timesheet. To do so, click the Payable Time option on the page. Review the entries for accuracy and select entries ready for approval and click Approve. Now that the time is approved, let's click the Refresh button and watch our task count go from 1 to none. Let's finish this task by reviewing absences. To do so, click the Absence Request page. I'll spare you the details, but do as you would in the Payable Time page by reviewing each pending request and approving them if accurate. After refreshing, the counts for this task should be gone. Now that this is completed, we can move to Ken's next task, assigning work schedules. Start by clicking the Links section. From there, click on the Manage Time folder. When the folder expands to display the page options, select the Manage Schedule page. Ken can assign any schedule needed here. Now let's go back to complete the last task of running key reports by clicking the Reports Processes section. Expand the Must Run Reports folder and select the Timesheet Report page. Here, Ken can run one of his key reports to help him verify time submitted by his employees.
Wow, thanks for that speed run, narrator. WorkCenters really can bring my tasks into one workplace.
Exactly. And those advantages apply for each of Cardinal HCM's configured work centers, including TA, BN, and PY, which again are located on the Cardinal HCM homepage and display based on your security roles. You can find everything you need to know and more about all of the HCM work centers in the job aid titled Overview of the Cardinal HCM Work Centers, located on the Cardinal website. Cardinal HCM Work Centers, your one-stop shop to get your tasks done.
So that was our video on how work centers in general work. Today, we're going to go in detail into the benefits work center. And just like on the TA side, we're organized into sections of my work, my approvals, links, queries, and reports and processes. This gives you one place to go to hit all of the different areas in Cardinal that you need to support your benefit tasks. This replaces the benefits administrator tile that you previously had access to. The My Work section will be rolled out with a to-do list of items for you to work on each day. In the original rollout, you'll have access to your list of dependents who need approval, right? So you know that every day you've got a list of dependents out there that are enrolled in coverage in the system, but they haven't been approved. Those people need to be updated. And so that's going to be the first thing that we're going to display to you in the My Work section. For the My Approval section, a new feature is coming to the benefits world. We are now allowing employee self-service users to upload documents during their life events. An employee will go out, initiate a new life event. I had a birth event, and they'll be able to upload a birth certificate electronically into the system for you to review and approve. You'll find those in the new My Approval section of the Work Center. And then links, queries, and reports and processes will just give you quicker navigation to all of the benefit pages that you need now to complete your job. This gives you a great screenshot of what the document approval section looks like for you. And again, in a few minutes, we're going to go into Cardinal together and we are going to demo through all of these steps. We'll repeat things so you can see them happen more than once, and we'll do it as a team in a demo. There are filters available within the Work Center. Those are helpful in some of the other work centers where they have lots and lots of exceptions for you to review. In the beginning, the Benefits Work Center won't have too great of a list for you to use, but you can definitely look at our job aids and look at the information we have on using those filters. It'll give you a way to stream down that list if you have an overwhelming number of tasks. I don't think you'll need that right from the get-go. All right, new features coming to the Work Center. So again, online documents. So we're going to start with documents for life events. We intend to roll this out to other areas of the system as well for your new hires and open enrollment. But right now, this will be live when we have our upgraded completed, where self-service users during those life events will be able to send documents to you. The employee self-service benefit tile has gotten an upgrade. It will look different to the users with a new modern feel. We also now support benefit mobile functionality for those employee self-service users. Anything your employee needs to do for benefits through self-service, they can easily do through their mobile devices. Complete their open enrollment event, start a life event, review their current benefits, all available from their mobile device. As we've said, they're going to be able to submit those documents now through employee self-service. And we're going to do this together. We'll pretend to be an employee, we'll go out to self-service, and we'll start and complete a life event together. But there'll be a new section of that life event that's available after the upgrade where the employees will be able to upload those documents directly to BAs for their review. You'll get to look at the document and decide if it meets OHB's requirements or not. You'll approve or reject that document. Coverage changes will not take place until you have done that. And so this will stop employees from being able to enroll dependents in coverage until you've seen those crucial documents. As a benefits administrator, you'll have new pages in the system for you to view those documents, and we'll do that together during our demo. You'll get to look at the document. It'll be available in the system for 60 days for you to take action on and save it for your personal records. But you'll do all of that electronically in the system before the employee can complete any coverage changes. This gives you a screenshot of these look and feel changes we discussed. Right now, use sort of a left menu navigation through employee self-service. In the future, their view will be a tile-based view. And all of our employee self-service job aids are being updated as we speak to reflect these changes. This gives you a nice shot of the new mobile functionality. You'll be able to get to your benefit detail tiles from your phone and then to any of the different parts of employee self-service as a benefits user, uploading your documents during your life events, reviewing your current benefit summary, completing your open enrollment event, all available from a mobile device. All right, let's take a look into the system now together for our demonstration. So I just want to cover a few things before we get started. First, we are in a test environment. All of the data in this environment has been scrubbed and staged. As a signal to me, the cardinal bird in the upper left is green. That signifies to me that I am in a test environment. So if anything looks like it could be, I assure you this is all test data. While many new functions are coming out that we'll talk about today for the Benefits WorkCenter, the majority of the benefits piece is staying the same. There are significant navigation and look and feel changes coming to the HR module. So if you have HR access, if you look at modify person or you look at job data, please be sure to join our webinar on the 27th to hear about all the important updates coming to those navigation changes in the HR space. But for the most part, things in benefits are staying the same. We do have a new benefit WorkCenter tile. And again, that replaces my benefits administrator tile. So you used to be able to use that benefits administrator tile to get to your confirmation statements. Now you'll use the WorkCenter, but the WorkCenter has so much more to it than the tile used to. When I came into my benefits WorkCenter as a BA, I'm defaulted into the My Work section, and it lists out my audit exceptions. And for the benefits WorkCenter, we're rolling it out with this unapproved dependents list. So this is just like the unapproved dependents that you currently see on your benefit eligibility audit report. These are dependents who are enrolled in coverage, but their status in the system is unapproved. Coverage change exists within the system, and if you're a Cardinal payroll agency, your employees being charged payroll deductions based on that coverage. Because that dependent is not approved, they are not being sent to the vendor. So this is a super important list of employees that you need to take action on. Working this list in a timely fashion can save someone from showing up at a pharmacy to hear their dependent doesn't have coverage, from hearing that a doctor's office visit was canceled, a procedure was canceled because of coverage issues, right? These are people that the employee thinks they have enrolled in coverage, but because they haven't provided you with proper documentation, you haven't been able to update them to approved. So we've got our sample scrub data here, right? Patty Page and Tess Testerson and Sam Smith. These are all test employees that we're using in our test system. And in our test system, Patty has a dependent, Prince, and that dependent is not approved. And so in this action item for me to take action on, if I click on the employee ID, it's going to open the on-demand page for that employee directly from the WorkCenter. So you can still see I'm still in the WorkCenter, but now I have my on-demand page opened for Patty. just like as if I had navigated to the on-demand page through traditional navigations, which still will exist. I would click on my event status update button to look at the events out there for Patty. And I can see Patty had an address change and some new hire activity all around the same time. So I can tell from this that Patty enrolled her dependent through the new hire event, right? So at this point, I would want to reach out to Patty and ask for that documentation needed to update the dependent that needs to be updated. If I had that documentation back, then I could go ahead and make my update. So I have two choices, right? We're going to either unenroll that dependent because no documentation exists, or we're going to approve the dependent. When we are approving dependents who are in an unapproved status, we always want to use on demand and use the event that the employee enrolled the dependent under and not go directly to the dependent. That's why this page takes me to the on demand page. I can set my event status to open for processing and my process to re-enter. A few options in this list, right? Same as I would normally. We choose the re-enter option because that preserves the elections, and I say, okay. I'm then going to click my reprocess button. The process rolled back those elections so that now I can get to the election entry for this employee. So I can see that Prince, the spouse, was enrolled in this coverage. If I had reached out to Patty and I had gotten the proper documentation to get Prince updated, I would come to the Dependent Beneficiary tab, the Change Add Dependent Data tab. I would navigate to the personal profile for Prince, and I would change his status from an unapproved dependent to an approved dependent. You'll notice there's now a Dependent Proof Qualified Dependent section of this page. That's part of our upgrade, but it is not a feature we're using right now. You can ignore that checkbox. Now that my dependent type has been set to approved, I'll say okay. I'll come back to my option election. Everyone is still enrolled in the coverage. I'll say okay. And I'll finalize my event. So this did a couple of things, right? So we worked my work audit list for the unapproved dependents. We reached out to the employee. We asked them to provide the proper documentation. We assumed we got that documentation in. And then we used on demand to reprocess the event to change that dependent status to an approved status. We didn't go directly to the dependent and make the change there because when we change dependents directly without touching the coverage, that information doesn't get sent to the vendor in a timely fashion. We want to make sure that this change to include Prince in our file to the vendor happens on our next business day. If I had gone directly to the dependent, that change wouldn't happen until our next monthly file. And so we always want to make sure that when we are updating dependents who are currently enrolled, we use the on-demand method to do this. We'll go ahead and close this window and we'll refresh our WorkCenter. You can see Patty has fallen off the list. Patty no longer has a dependent who is enrolled in coverage but is not approved. Let's do that again. Testerson does still have a dependent that hasn't been enrolled. We'll go to the event status update and we'll look to see again, this was another coverage that came through a hire event. We're going to reprocess the event the same way we would process an event in Cardinal today. Nothing is changing about that. The only thing that's changing about these unapproved dependents is the way we display them to you. You no longer have to run a report to find them. Now you get them in your My WorkCenter as soon as you log into Cardinal. So we'll reprocess the event the way we do now. We'll click on our election entry. And in this case, we reached out to the employee, but they were unable to provide a birth certificate for this child. And in that case, our option would be to change the coverage. So we're going to delete the coverage, delete that dependent from the coverage, and we're going to update our option code. We're going to keep with CHA2, but we're going to go to the employee only option. So the option code will change from 11 to 9. Right? We're still in CHA2, but now we have single coverage. We'll say okay. and we'll validate and finalize our event. We can close the on-demand window and we'll refresh our WorkCenter again. That employee has fallen off the list. The WorkCenter updates every time you refresh it. It's real time. If somebody had just gone out and entered their new hire elections while you were working on your test employee, then now someone new might show up on this list. This was one of the most crucial things we could think of to help your relationship with employees by taking proactive measures to make sure these dependents get approved in a timely fashion. We know it's so critical for employees. They think they've enrolled their dependents, they keyed them online, they have a confirmation statement that says, I enrolled in family coverage. So we want to make sure that we follow up with them, obtain those proper documents, and get these dependents updated so they can be transmitted to the vendor. We chose to use the link of the employee ID to get us into on-demand, to remind us that we want to reprocess events to make sure that coverage is sent on our next business day, instead of going directly to the employee and changing the dependent status on the dependent page. So that's our first My Work section of the Benefits WorkCenter. We have plans to expand this. We would love to hear from you about items you would love to see in this list. We have plans with OHB to add items to this list that include things like employees who are enrolled in FSAs, but they're missing their fees, life events that are in progress. We have ideas about ways that we can provide lists of data that you need to look at right there for you during open enrollment time. Envision your employees who haven't submitted events being a list right here for you with a way for you to reach out to them. So we'll definitely see new things come to this in the future, and we'll communicate those to you as soon as we know about them, but we'd love to get your input on it. The next section of the Benefits WorkCenter is the My Approval section. And for our benefit administrators, you'll have one thing here that you need to approve, and those are our benefit documents. If I click on the benefit document filing, it's going to tell me that I have one person out there with a document, and that's Dale. Dale Dinner started a marriage event and has uploaded a document. In just a second, we are going to pause our demo as a benefits administrator, and we're going to enroll as an employee so that you can see that firsthand, so that you'll know what your employees are looking at when they go to do this. But let's just take a quick preview of what these documents look like. If I click on the employee's name, it will show me the documents that are available and out there. I can click on the document. I can view the attachment, and the document will open up in a new window. So we can see that when Dale went out to create his marriage event, he uploaded a marriage certificate. You'll use your same OHB guidelines to judge whether documents meet the criteria that has been set for you. Nothing is different about the quality of the document or the type of document that you need to receive. It's just, here's a new way for you to get this document within Cardinal. The documents will be available for you in the Cardinal for 60 days. That will give you time to print copies and save for your agency's records in accordance with your agency and OHB's retention policies. They'll be out there available in the WorkCenter. We'll show you that in just a second. I can use this header link to take me back one step to get me back to my approval page. And I can choose to select my document, and then I can approve a document or I can deny a document. When that happens, whether you click the approval button or the denial button, an email is generated to the employee to let them know that action took place. If you're going to reject a document, we recommend reaching out to the employee directly and letting them know outside of just the system-generated email, because it's going to be a generic email that the document was rejected. Reach out to that employee directly to let them know what you need them to do in order to pass the check. But I can come in and I can click approve and then submit. The approver comments box should be left blank. Those comments are not available to either you as the BA or the employee at a later time. So let's pause here, and we are going to step out of the system as a benefits administrator, and we're going to log in as an employee so that you can see what it looks like now to create those live events. I'm going to log in with a test employee ID. All right, so now when employees come into Cardinal and into the home page, they'll select the benefit details tile. And as we said, they have a new look and feel in the employee self-service space. So instead of a left-hand navigation collection, they have a tile for life events. We're going to start a life event. They have the same options. They can choose to tell us they got married, had a newborn, adopted a child, or had a divorce. Let's have a newborn today. We'll put in the date that this happened, and we'll start our life event. Now, this looks exactly and is the same exact steps that employees are seeing in employee self-service today, with the addition of this new step, document upload. When you're brought into the event, you get some welcome information. There's a link that takes you out to DHRM's definition of documentation required so that the employee can go out there and know exactly what they're going to need to provide. They'll confirm the date of birth, click the submit button. They'll go to the next step. They'll read through and acknowledge that they are complying with state policy on birth events. They'll click agree, just as they do today. They'll save their acknowledgement, and they'll go to the next step. They'll be shown a current summary of their benefits as of today, and they'll be able to add a dependent. Very exciting news is that they will not be able to add dependents outside of life events. As you noticed from that previous screen that we were on, they had a few options, but one of them was not for them to just add a new dependent. They have to be in a life event to do this. And we know that's going to cut down on dependents being added with the wrong effective dates. So we're very excited about this change. They'll key their new dependent's name. They'll confirm the date of birth. They'll enter a gender. They'll enter the relationship, and they'll save. So now they have an approved dependent out there because they'd already provided a marriage certificate when they enrolled in their initial coverage. And now they have an unapproved dependent out there that needs to be updated. They'll go to the next step, and they'll need to upload a document. The page will tell them exactly what type of document they need to upload. If they're doing, because we're on a birth event, the system knows that a birth certificate is the required documentation. They can upload documents or other types of dependents at this point, but those are not required. We'll go in and we'll add an attachment. They're going to upload this from their personal device. They'll upload their birth certificate. They'll click the upload button, and they'll be done in this step. The system will warn them that approval is required. They'll say, okay. If they try to go to the next step, they're going to be skipped over the benefits enrollment step and taken directly to the life event summary. They will not have access to this benefits enrollment step until you have approved their document as their benefits administrator. So we'll pause and log out as the employee, and we'll switch over to being our BA again. Now, if you're wondering, as the BA, how do I know that this is happening? A few things. One, you'll get an email. So if you are listed as the BA contact in the BA contacts page for your agency, then an email would have been just generated to you. So I'm the BA for this fake agency in our test system. And so I got an email letting me know that this employee went out there and started a life event. Okay? I also got an email that dependent data has been updated, right? So a new dependent was added for that same employee. And I got an update letting me know that a document was ready for me to approve, right? So lots of notification to you as the benefits administrator contact. The employee was out in self-service and taking action. If you're wondering how those emails are being generated because you're not seeing them now, it's all set by the BA contact for your agency. That can be set to one person or it can be set to a group email list. Some of our larger agencies are definitely using distribution lists so that everyone in the department gets notified when this happens. If you have any questions about how that functionality works, there is a job aid on BA contacts, or you can submit a VCCC ticket, and my team will be happy to walk you through looking at how your contacts are currently set and how they can be changed to be more useful for you. So as the benefits administrator for that agency, I just got my notifications. I know that an employee has been out there doing something. I'm going to log in and go take a look. I'll come in, I'll select my benefits WorkCenter. Now, we just added a new dependent, and that dependent status was unapproved, but that dependent isn't showing on my unapproved dependents list. It's because that dependent hasn't been enrolled in coverage yet. So just the way unapproved dependent reporting works now, it only becomes an actionable item for you once that dependent gets enrolled in coverage. And with you being able to block dependents from being enrolled through life events, no one should show up on this list as the result of a life event. I now have one document available to view. And instead of Dale Diner, who we'd already completed, now Taylor Tower has a birth event out there for me that needs review. Those documents will show up in the work list of anyone in your department who has access to these people. So if you have one person getting the email notifications, but 3 benefit administrators in your group, all 3 benefit administrators will see this document, see it in their work center, and have the ability to view it and approve it. I'm going to take a look at this birth certificate. I'm going to view the attachment. The image is going to come in. We're going to take a look. Does this meet our requirements? We'll make that determination. So let's say we've decided that, yes, this is a good birth certificate. This is a good dependent. We're going to be happy to approve this dependent. We're going to want to do things a little differently. What we want to do is we want to go in and update that dependent to approved directly on the dependent page before we approve the dependent. Now, we talked in the beginning about how important it was to approve dependents through on demand. That distinction is you must approve your dependents through on demand if the dependent is already enrolled in coverage, right? This dependent is not enrolled in coverage yet. There's no event for you to use to approve that dependent. But what you want to happen is you want the dependent to be fully approved when you click that approval button, so that the employee gets that notification saying your document has been approved, you can continue, and then everything is set and done. So I can use my work center, and I can use my links option, my employee dependent information menu, and update my employee dependent. This is just a new way to navigate to the exact same dependent beneficiary pages that you're used to, right? So we've got Toby, and we've got our new test baby that we just added. We're going to go to the personal profile. We're going to come down, change the status from unapproved to approved. Oops. I'm going to get my warning that I need to be in correct history mode, and that's absolutely correct. I'm going to come down and click the correct history button. Scroll down to my status, make sure that I'm on my test baby, right? The screen would have been refreshed when we changed our statuses. Now we're going to say our dependent needs to be an approved dependent, and we're going to save. So now I've looked at that document. I've saved it off for my file. I know it's the right document. I'm comfortable approving this dependent. Now we'll go back to the document, and we're going to select the document and select approve. When I approve or deny those documents, generic emails are sent out to the employee to let them know that they can finish that event. So let's go in and do that. We'll log back in as the employee. The benefit details tile now has an action required note to me because I have a life event in progress. I'm going to resume my life event. I'm going to continue that life event. So I'm the employee. I had started my birth event. I sent in my documents. I just got a notification saying that my benefits administrator has approved my documents. And so now I can come back to the step and start my enrollment. Even with the new look and feel, this works exactly the way it did previously. The employee is going to come down, select the medical tile. They're going to select the new dependent for coverage by clicking the checkbox in front of their name and saying done. And then they're going to click the most important button in the world, submit, right? Unless you submit your elections in self-service, you have not completed your enrollment. They can choose to click to view the summary of that. And when I look at my dependent enrollments, it's going to tell me that both of my dependents are approved because you as the BA approved that dependent as soon as you saw the document. And now when I get my confirmation statement email tonight, after the system processing happens, the confirmation statement will also show an approved dependent, and that dependent will be included in tomorrow's vendor file. So just to recap, when we are working the unapproved dependent list from the Work Center, we're using on demand to update coverage, flags that coverage is being changed in the system, and updating dependents through the on demand process. That gets the dependent approved in the system immediately. For these life events, no event exists. If I'd gone to on demand for this test employee as the BA, there would be no birth event available because we hadn't approved the document yet. The birth event doesn't get created until the employee clicks that start my enrollment button we saw. And so there's no event for you to do it in. So it's okay for you to update the dependent directly in that case. And that allows for the employee to complete the process and be completely done. So let's go ahead and switch back to being our test BA. So we'll log back in as that BA. We'll come back to our benefits work center. Okay, nobody popped up on my unapproved dependents list because we approved that dependent as part of the process. We've looked at all of the documents that are available out there for me, so there are no more pending approvals. These are the two new items that are really available to you through the Work Center, these My Work List items and these approvals. Everything else is really just about navigation. So under the links section, we've organized our links into several categories. Employee and dependent information will take me to my dependents. It'll take me to review my benefit attachments. So if we come here, I can put in our employee that we've been testing with, click the search button, click the arrow button to select that employee. And now you can see this person has some dependents out here, some documents. Here's the document that we just looked at. I can use this page to view the document again and print it if needed, right? These documents will be out here for me for 60 days. And available through this navigation only. I can also go to the benefit summary. The benefit summary has a new feature for you. We'll put in our employee ID and search, and we'll click the arrow to select our employee. It now has an as of date. The page used to be called the current benefit summary. It's now just the benefit summary because you get to pick when the data is as of. You'll note that right now, the employee as of today is enrolled in Employee Plus One dependent coverage. The employee just submitted an event, though, that added their new child to their coverage. Until Ben Admin runs through tonight's nightly processing, you won't see that reflected on the health benefit page, so it won't be reflected here. But you can come in and change the date. What did coverage for this person look like previously? What did coverage look like before and after open enrollment? You can come in and make these changes and see how coverage has changed for this person, right? And so they had a 7-1 FSA. That is not the exact same thing if we pick the current date. As of today, they're waived out of SSA. So this page has gotten some enhanced functionality to it. The benefit summary page, now put that date in and you get to refresh and see the data as of that date. Everything else in the Work Center is really just a new way to navigate to the existing things you have access to. The health plan enrollment page is your same health plan enrollment page. All of the pages that you need should be right here for you, from viewing the benefits to the on-demand event process, the benefit event tool, right? If you needed to create a tag-along dependent on that birth event, you would do it the same way you always did. You would use the benefit event tool. This just gives you a new navigation to it. Nothing else changing in this space. It's just a new navigation. The old navigation still exists as well, but this gives you everything consolidated in one place. You'll be able to review confirmation statements from here. That replaces your access from the benefits administrator tile. Also giving you access to top queries and most of your reports. So if I come here and I click on the missing VRS data query, I can run that right from the Work Center and my page. This agency has no missing data, or they're not a payroll agency and don't need to run this query. But you could use these queries, view data from here directly on your page without having to navigate anywhere else in the system. We're displaying your benefit data query, FSA health and premium reward election change queries, your FSA audit queries, and your health census queries. If you find things that you're running on a regular basis that you think should be run or be more beneficial, that you would be a benefit in additional candidates to this list, please submit a VCCC ticket and let us know how we can make this more useful for you. Under the reports and processes section, you've got enrollment and processing reports and your recon reports. So under the enrollment and processing reports, you've got your ACA report, right? We run that once a month to keep an eye on our ACA data, the base benefit consistency audit, the benefit eligibility audit. These are all the same reports that you know and love right now, but they just have a new navigation for you to get to them. I can add new run controls and still be in my Work Center. I can still pick, I want these two options on this output, right? I won't have to come here and run my dependent awaiting approval report anymore because that data is displayed for me directly in the Work Center as a My Work item. Just like I'm running my reports now, I can go ahead and submit from the Work Center and get access to that output just the way I do now. So for the most part, the Work Center is just a simplified navigation. It gets you everything in one place, but it will be expanded with all of the things that you need to be looking at on a regular basis. We've grouped all of your recon reports for you. If you are a payroll agency, these are all the reports that you would be running on a regular basis to keep your VRS and health benefit recons up to date and balanced. So let's take a pause and see if there are any questions that I can answer for you.
We have a few questions. If an employee starts a self-service event but sends the documentation directly to the bin admin, are we still able to approve the event?
So the employee is going to get some information about this in their job aid. And so if the employee does not want to upload a document into the system, they can upload a note saying that, and that will allow an approval to sort of take the place up. And so you'll be able to go in and make the approval based on that rather than the actual document itself. You can always go to the benefit event tool and create that event for them too and complete their coverage elections. Some people are going to be uncomfortable with uploading the documents and they may not want to at that point complete the online piece, and they may want to switch to, here, let me bring this document to your office and fill out a paper form. And then you would use your benefit event tool to pick up things from there. So there are ways for employees to sort of initiate, but then opt out of that electronic submission.
All right. And to add to that, if the employee doesn't upload something and they manually bring it to the benefit administrator, does the benefit administrator need to upload anything?
So you don't need to upload anything at that point. At that point, again, you would then create the event through the tool and let the employee continue it that way. We are not requiring employees to submit their documents electronically. This is just an option for them to make things more simple.
All right. Will it prevent employees from uploading a document after the 60-day window for life events and the 30-day window for new hires?
So the documents are limited at this time to just life events. So for your new hires and for open enrollment, those are still going to be documents given directly to you as the BA. That functionality is something that we are working on for the future, but is not ready for prime time yet. So you will still have dependents that get enrolled both through open enrollment and through new hire events that can show up on that unapproved dependents list. So they have 60 days to start that life event and get things completed. If the document comes in after the fact, then as the BA, your job to reject if they have not met OHB's guidelines on providing that documentation. Again, they won't be able to enroll or make any enrollment changes until you have approved a document. And so if you reject the document, if they never upload a document, and they've made no coverage changes within the system, all they've done is added that new dependent. Because the dependent isn't enrolled in coverage, you don't really need to worry about them at that point.
Can an employee continue with the enrollment task without uploading the supporting documentation? I think you've already addressed that.
Yeah, they cannot.
That is a required step in that guide, and so they won't be able to start the enrollment without the documents, and the system tells them that. If they try to go to that little pop-up that says, you're missing that document approval step, and you'll have to reach out to the BA at that point to get some help.
Will they be able to save that life event and return to it later?
Yes. So the employees can go out and start a life event and it'll be out there waiting for them. I would imagine that happens pretty frequently when you get to that point and realize, I need to do something. The life event will be out there for them to finish at their leisure. When they come back into the system, they'll get that little reminder that action required shows up on their benefit details tile in employee self-service, and they'll be able to resume the life event.
We've had a couple of questions around retention. There was a question just generally, you made the comment that we only keep them for 60 days. And so I responded in the chat that those are automatically deleted after 60 days. And we have some questions about when that 60 days start.
So it's going to be 60 days from the last date the document was updated. So if an employee goes out there and uploads a document, and then 5 days later, you approve that document, the 60 days starts that 5 days later window. If you never approve or deny the document, if let's say, your agency had some turnover, there's no one in the BA position, there was no one to approve or to deny the document, 60 days after the employee uploads it, it will be removed from the system. Cardinal will not be the system of record for these documents. You still will need to follow your own internal retention policies and be able to answer to OHB about those documents. We assume people are going to print and add them to personnel files the way they do now when employees email you documents or stop by with copies of documents. but we are giving you sort of a 60-day grace period, right? I approved the document. I came in tomorrow and I realized I did not save a copy of this. I forgot to print it. I sent it to the printer on my way out and the printer ate it. Like, things happen. And so we are doing our best to try to make this as helpful for you as possible. And so we do give you a 60-day window that you'll be able to view those documents. And it's 60 days from the last time that document was sort of officially touched. And touching it includes uploading it, approving it, or rejecting it.
All right, so we have a couple of questions about if an employee goes into ESS and creates an event, but they don't have a social security number.
Yep.
So when they go back in to add it later, it creates another event record. And is it possible for us to stop creating those two events?
Yep. As you saw, I was able to add our little test baby today without a social security number, right? People often, never have those at the birth event, right? And it's not required to get that dependent enrolled in coverage. We'll be able to fully enroll in coverage, send on the vendor file, cards generated, fully activated, fully covered dependent. They will show up on reports as a dependent who's covered that's missing SSN because that is included in ACA filing. We do want you to try to get those numbers and add them to the system for that purpose. If at a later date the employee then applies for and receives a social security number, they can go into self-service. They can pick the dependent tile from the benefit details tile, and they can edit their existing dependent to add in that missing information. They do not need to start another event. What they can't do is just go to that dependent tile and add someone fresh. That is now restricted to within events. We know that was a definite pain point for the BAs and something that we work with on OHB to prevent from happening as part of our upgrade. And so they can edit their existing dependents. There are limited fields they can change. They can't really change a name. We had too many instances where employees went out and tried to replace one dependent with another. So they can't change the name of the dependent, but they can update address information and they can add missing social security numbers. They can correct a date of birth, but they cannot add someone new outside of an event. Even on the new hire, they won't be able to key the dependent first. It'll be part of that event. And so all your dependents will come from those events. They'll be able to edit them later without making new events. You'll see great improvement in that process.
All right. So there was a question, and you probably already addressed this, but I want to make sure that we address it straight on, that now employees can't update the social security number in ESS.
Employees can't change their own social security numbers in employee self-service,
Right,
but
they
should be able to update their dependents.
They can update the dependent, but they can't update their own. If an employee fails to provide required documents, either via upload or hard copy, will their transaction be deleted as incomplete?
Yes. So if the employee starts a life event and they never give you a document, they never reach out to you, they never take any action, right? The no enrollment changes can possibly happen. They don't have the ability to go out there and do that. And we do have some nightly processing that will go out and clear out life events in progress. And so if the employee starts one and then doesn't finish it, right, then we eventually clear them out so they'll be able to start a new event. They can also go in and cancel the one that's out there in progress if they need to start a new one. And again, on the SSN, I stopped sharing because I didn't want to share something inaccurate, but I did just check that and test it. And I was able to go in and add a social security number to our test baby after the fact. So that is available to employees. They do not need a new event. We would want them to edit the existing dependent. All right, so I'm going to log back in as our BA and just give you some sort of closing reminders about the changes coming to the system. So we're back in our test system and we're back in as our test BA. We've come to our benefits work center. And again, lots of navigation changes happening in other parts of the system, significant ones on that HR side. So please make sure you attend the seminar on the 27th. But in the benefits space, the work center is really some new things for you to get in your face and take action on, and then an enhanced way for you to navigate around. So no changes to the existing pages in the system, no changes to when you view benefits, when you are doing on demand, it works exactly the same as it did. The benefit event tool works exactly the same as it did. It's really, here's a new navigation that gets you to your enhanced benefit summary page. You'll use the Work Center to get to your confirmation statements because the benefits administrator tile has been replaced. And it gets you this My Work and My Approvals. The My Work is going to show you dependents who are enrolled in coverage but are not approved. And so we want you to reach out to those employees, get that documentation, and then either update them to approved or remove them from coverage using on demand. They were added through events. There are events out there. That's why I'll use the on-demand method here. Using the on-demand method, make sure that that information is included in the next business day's file and gets everything processed in a timely fashion for your employees. The benefits document section will be the documents that have been uploaded by your employees for employee self-service for you to review and approve. This prevents them from enrolling new dependents in coverage until you've taken a look at those documents. Same rules apply. The same document guidelines that you follow today will be followed now. Again, we are not going to be the system of record for those documents, so please print them. When you click on the document to view it, it opens in a browser window, and you would print it just like any other browser printing that you're currently doing. Everyone in your benefits department who has access to an employee will see documents in this section. The notifications are limited to those BA contacts. So again, if you have questions about how those BA contacts work, please submit a VCCC ticket, and the benefits team would be happy to work with you, go over the job aid, and explain to you how those email notifications are generated. But again, as we were going in and taking action on those employees, I just got another email because I went in and added a social security number as an employee, right? And so you get notified when employees update dependents, when they add new dependents, when they're starting life events. We're trying to make sure that you're well aware of that self-service activity. And those notifications are all driven by the BA contacts page. So you can look at that job aid, or you can reach out to the VCCC team, and the Cardinal benefits team would be happy to help you with that. You get the My Work section, the benefits approval section, and then your links. So this is just new navigation to the existing system that you're used to. Every single job aid is being updated and will be published with all of the new navigations, with all of the new screens and fields, with all of the new directions on how to approve those documents. There's a brand new job aid coming about working with documents that will go over everything we talked about today, how you approve them, how you reject them. That'll all be available as support for you. And the Cardinal benefits team is always available to you. We're just a VCCC email away. Do we have any other Q&A questions that we'd like to review?
Are there any system reminders set up to go out to employees to warn them that they're approaching the deadline to submitting supporting documentation?
There is not any system notifications to the employees for that, but that is an excellent suggestion. And if you, we'll take that as a takeaway today. If you have any other ideas that are along those lines, VCCC tickets with Cardinal benefits in the subject would be a great way to get them to our team for us to review and get things on the list for future enhancements.
I don't know if we know this question, this may be OHB, but what is the time event for a life event, the time frame for a life event to be canceled if the documentation is not received?
The employee has 60 days to initiate the life event, and then I think they have 30 days to get you that documentation according to OHB. Again, you should check the OHB website. They have all of their dates and guidelines listed on their website. We will cancel life events that have been out there way outside of that window.
I think that's most of our questions we've addressed.
And the good news is, again, we do almost every training resource that we have is being updated. All of the WBTs and job aids will be available to you before the upgrade. So yeah, thank you for that feedback. Speaking of updated job aids and other materials, we do have a new upgrade webpage on the Cardinal website. Here you will find links to all of our upgrade comms. You'll find special videos and infographics, as well as recordings and presentation decks from each of our webinars and much more. Please keep checking this page regularly as we continue to add resources. Please, we would love your feedback and would appreciate you taking a brief survey. Just scan this QR code on the slide to begin. And before we close out the webinar, we want to alert you that the look and feel of the job data and position data pages has changed significantly in the upgraded environment. We will send out a communication announcing these changes with links to the updated HR 353 reviewing the HR read-only pages job aid and the related web-based training. We strongly encourage you to review these resources so you will be prepared to navigate these pages in the upgraded system. Okay, that brings us to the end of today's session. On behalf of the entire Cardinal team, we want to say thank you for taking time today to be here with us. Your engagement is exactly what helps us make these resources as useful as possible for you. We're excited about what's coming in September, and we hope today gave you a clearer picture of what to expect. So take care and have a wonderful rest of your day.